Testing. Good afternoon. Just going to check everything's okay. So let's make sure we're broadcasting okay. So it's an unlisted one today, so can only access it via the link. And hopefully we're up and running. So if you are up and about, just say a quick hello. We can get cracking. Hi, Alan. Thank you very much. Excellent. So just close a few of these down. Sound a little low. Okay. I've got it about there. That's the best I can do. So I hope it's okay for you. But let me know if that's any better. Okay. So does the sound any better? Can you hear me okay? Everything okay? Thank you. Excellent. Right. Well, let's just do a catch up. We've got Leipzig early goal. That's not really a surprise. Looking at the earlier kickoffs, aiming for the European places, those two. So 18 minutes to go, so plenty of time there. 4th against 13th. Watch out for Metz. They could, with a win, go a lot higher. So that draw could be vulnerable late on. So I hope you're all okay still there. So I hope I'm still broadcasting. Just saw that little circle going round. Hope everything's okay. So let's just look at the early Bundesliga. Normally expect a goal before half time in a Hoff match, really, particularly against fellow strugglers. Werder Bremen, what, 4 consecutive defeats in all competitions now. Premier League in Israel, not much to talk about there, but 8th against 9th. I don't know if that 0-0 might be vulnerable. So Wolfsburg opening goal against Werder Bremen. Italian Serie A, of course. Well, Atalanta Venezia. Venezia keeping it quiet, but likely to concede. Second half. Salernitana, Frosinone, Mantova, all relegation threatened sides. So those matches might have some more action in them, particularly this one. Relegation 6-pointer. Should see a little bit more out of either side. Particularly Mantova, if they can keep tabs, they might get that 2-2. Plenty to play for in Serie B. And there's a Cittadella goal against Stabia in that very league. Extra class at 0-0 at half time. 14th against 12th. We can keep an eye. And Mönchengladbach have scored first against Heidenheim. 3 o'clock today, we won't be having the Premier League. We've got the FA Cup and Championship League 1, League 2 as well. Plenty to play for in those leagues. So I think we've got the main leagues in the watch list there. We can just keep an eye till we get to the 3 o'clocks. So Red Star 15th against Green Camp, relegation threatened. Red Star in French League 2. So there's possibilities that they could be looking for a late winner. Similar story for Green Camp. They're 5th. They might have a tilt at a promotion playoff place for French League 2. Down at Demirspor and Bodrumspor looks a bit of a relegation 6-pointer based on the league positions. That's why I've got that one at 0-0. Girona and Celta 2-2, finely poised. Pre-match favourite, well, we don't know based on that. You're looking slightly at Girona being the pre-match fav. I suppose a move upwards would help both sides towards European football. So I hope you're all okay still. Thank you very much, Alan. Excellent. So Israeli Premier League, 0-0 after 80 minutes. Just keep an eye on that. There's been score draws. Both teams scoring in 4 of the last 5 for Hapoel Jerusalem. So these are just the ones on the watch list until we get to the busier 3 o'clock. And already busy for Heidenheim and Mönchengladbach, 17th against 9th. So this could be a bit of a humdinger. It's already 1-1. Heidenheim needing the points. Similar story with St. Pauli today as well. They might put together a good performance, but they might just get done. Dortmund should have too much quality in them, really. So not looking for much change from the relegation threatened sides at home today, but it is a 1-1, or has that goal been disallowed for Heidenheim? So we'll keep an eye on those stats. They might be in a battling mood today, Heidenheim. 2.6 the favourite as well. It's one of those matches the market can't really get a handle on. So that's the watch list at the moment. Not much going on. Werder Bremen, 4 consecutive defeats. 2.25 the favourite. Not a warm favourite, Wolfsburg. We'll keep tabs on that one. Both teams have scored in 2 of the last 3 for Werder Bremen. But they do look in trouble, don't they? They have played Bayern Munich. A couple of away defeats. 3 of those away defeats. So we'll have to look on that one. For Wolfsburg, did look a little bright. Bochum have the lead against the Hoff. So that's the goal before half-time. So come a little bit too early. Like to wait 15, 20 minutes for those ones. Atalanta and Venezia. Well, doing a very good job at the moment, Venezia. But do have a look and see whether Atalanta are involved in Europe. Champions League returning next week. I think it's on the Tuesday. So just keep an eye on those sides involved. I don't know if Atalanta are, because that could be a reason for any underperformance. Club Brugge, Aston Villa involved in the Cup. Dortmund involved today, as you know, away from home, I think. So it could be vulnerable. Lille, PSV, Arsenal, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. So no Atalanta on the Tuesday. We'll have a look on the Wednesday. And there's no Atalanta on the Wednesday either. So nothing to worry about for them. It just could be a stubborn Venezia, keeping it very, very tight, given the league position as well. This will tell you, if we get back, just show you the league positions as the scores come in. So Venezia, looking at the live standings, you'd be expecting them to be aiming for the 3. And Atalanta for different reasons as well. So we can have a look at the live standings. We'll need these coming to the end of the season. So currently, taking the draw into account, Venezia stay where they are. Add another 2 to that. They're on 20, but they're getting closer to that playoff place, closer to these three. Atalanta, well, how about that for motivation? Another couple of points, and they could go top or just equal on points, particularly with these two playing each other as well later on, I think. So big motivation for Atalanta. So that draw, you'd expect that to be vulnerable second half, wouldn't you? 1.18, not quite delivering the killer blows just yet that you'd expect of a 1.18 shot Atalanta. So just check here, you're still okay. Good. So it's a bit quiet for the 2:30s at the moment. 3 o'clocks, of course. Oh, just got my niece coming through. Oh, okay. She's making her way up Thailand at the moment. So it'll be lovely to see her. So let me just get back. There we go. So Salernitana goal disallowed. Serie B, 18th in the league, 43rd minute. So again, could see an attack on that draw second half. Similar story, 15th place. So it was worth having these up. We can go to Red Star. You can see the motivation if we can get to them. There they are. See the motivation of turning that draw into a win. And then you can maybe just focus on the 109 and the 106. So we get to the standings. So Red Star and Winkamp with another 2 points. Take them to 42 with the win. Red Star, well, even with that point, they are out of the relegation zone. So they'll be delighted with that. But another 2, just take Rodez into the equation as well. So that could be a vulnerable, very late play, couldn't it? These are the kind of things to look for from March, April onwards as the seasons come to an end. Points now could change the whole season completely, couldn't it? Look at what it could do to Atalanta with the big 2 meeting each other a bit later on. So these draws should be vulnerable, shouldn't they? And we can always do that 0-0 strategy and sit on it. So it's going to be very interesting seeing if we can get that pressure on for these kind of matches. So Red Star, you know, could do with a couple of points. They're already out of the relegation zone with this single point today. Getting to that stage, if you're interested. So if you go to Guingamp. And you could do the 109 and 106. So you're at 1.24 currently. You could just have it available. £1.09 to win £32 or £23, not £323. And then 1.06. Oh, I didn't get in early enough. There's the pressure. There's the pressure, and there's that goal. So I got involved, or looked to get involved too late. You could start if you wanted at that 1.23 and work from there. But you can see the idea. This stage of the season, look at the league positions. Could change the whole complexion, couldn't they, late on? So I was trying to get the late heroic big win. So 1.23 is not to be sniffed at if you're laying the draw, is it? It's nice low odds. It's already 0-2 to Mönchengladbach, and that was a 2.6, the favourite match as well. So not expected to be this one-sided, Heidenheim and Mönchengladbach. Something for you to think about. If we just confirm that. 2.6 the favourite, so you're not expected to have this slanting match. The market couldn't pick a winner, that's what that's telling you. So this could be a good entry point, couldn't it? Well, if that 0-2 sticks, of course, that could be a good entry point. I'll have to wait and confirm that. So that could be something to think about if it remains 0-2 this early, really. There it is, that's confirmed. So you might want to have a tickle there based on the 2.6, the favourite. So we can have a quick look at this. So it should be 1 point. Is that low enough for you to have a go? My argument, they're away from home, 2.63 the favourite, i.e. market not expected this one slanted scoreline so early. So it's there if you want it. Low entry point. You could even delay if you wanted. 2.6 also tells you that the market is expecting anything. So it could be as one-sided as this if it's an unreadable match, which that one looks to have been. So a couple of options. If you fancy a bit of value, Heidenheim certainly motivated in 17th place to get something, but how have they looked recently? Well, a nice 2-2 against Leipzig as an opening gambit, scored and conceded in 3 of the last 4, including the Conference League against Copenhagen. That was a 2-legged affair. Failed to score against Mainz and against Freiburg. Mönchengladbach have looked a little more consistent, haven't they? But why is it 2.6 the favourite? Is it low enough for you to have a pop at if you fancied 1.23 lay and a 17 back? So we've already called this one. If you've got involved before me, well done. This is a similar story, isn't it? It's a 0-0. It's 17th against 19th. We get the idea. Struggles. So we can have a look at the live standings and see the benefit of 2 extra points if we've got live standings. We do. So let's have a look. So relegation 6-pointer here. Looks like Adana Demirspor minus 12 points. So there is a hopeless task for them. I think they'll be a little demoralised. Bodrum, though, with the win, will get them out of the relegation zone. But Adana Demirspor fighting a losing battle. So worth looking at that, isn't it? Because not going to be much motivation from this lot, is there? With minus 2 points currently. Plenty of motivation for Bodrum. And if the odds are short enough, and if you get that late goal, it's not going to be too troublesome, the amount lost. They've got a bit of a way to go. Probably 1.3, well, 1.5 to lay that draw. But it's a good enough story for Bodrum. Not a very good story for Adana Demirspor, is it, with all of those points deducted. But if you're going to get out of the relegation zone, then do so against a demoralised team like the home side. So that could be something. If the odds are short enough, it's well worth a punt at this stage of the season. Girona, Celta Vigo, possibilities for that Desmond to end. What's the story of the match? It's a 1-0 to 1-1, 1-2, and swung back to the home side. 2 second-half goals, 2 first-half goals. Possibilities, but then not really lighting up the late play. There we go, Red Star making it 3-1. So they put that to bed. Much needed 3 points for them. Amiens Metz, well, looks like 4th place, got the, or wrestled the late goal. That's what I was waiting for, but I didn't pay attention to that one. Fourth place could go into a promotion playoff place automatic if you're in that kind of place in the league. So that's a big motivator. That's why I've got all these draws collected up here. That's ended. Cesena, Salernitana, we've had a goal disallowed from Salernitana at half-time, 18th in the league. Picked out, scored 3 goals in the last 4 matches. Both teams have scored in 4 of Cesena's last 5. 2 or 3 1-1 draws in the last 4 head-to-heads, but there's a big gap in head-to-heads. But motivating factors for both sides again. At this stage of the season, we might as well check it out. Cesena and Salernitana. So we'll be doing a lot of this from March to April onwards, checking out the impact that an extra 2 points will have. Well, looking at Salernitana first, add another 2 to those with a win. And then on to 29, they're keeping Südtirol, Reggiana and Brescia close to Sampdoria and Mantova, making it a 6-team squabble pretty much. So that's how vital 2 points will be for them. Cesena, they need to keep Palermo, Modena, Correrese out of the equation for those promotion playoff places. So that draw, not really serving either side, is it? Get that disallowed goal for Salernitana, and you might see this draw ending second half, mightn't you? Plenty to motivate. I can have a look. So we're keeping an eye on this one. Might have to get a glass of water. Cesena and Salernitana. So it's currently 2.3 for the draw. So this be quite high at 1.43. I'm hoping this will remain tight. That's what this is telling you, because it's relatively high. So I'll just lay over 0.5 goals to cover the 0-0, and hopefully it'll stay 0-0 for long enough for these odds to be nice and low to allow me a bigger return if we get that single goal. Don't forget, it's huge motivation for both teams. Possibly playoff, possibly wriggle your way out of the relegation zone. So add into that the goal alert at Football 24. We've got a possibility of that one ending. So I'm hoping it will stay tight for long enough. 87th minute, Bodrum and Adana. Is anyone going for it? Not really, are they? Not really added any shots at all. Girona and Celta, well, that's ended 2-2. 14th against 12, mid-table. Won't be interested in that. But we've got a good story with this lot, haven't we? Possibility of that draw, or at least a goal being seen second half. Plenty to motivate. Similar story, Atalanta, possibility to go top. Could be nerves playing up with them. We can have a look at this one again with the possibility of laying that draw second half. Huge motivation for both sides for different reasons. It's relatively high, isn't it? I don't know if they'll be straight out of the blocks though, because this is suggesting goals, isn't it? So the Atalanta one would be the strongest case, you'd think. So I think Inter and Napoli play each other. So hopefully I can sit on this for it to be a long, nervy 0-0. Hope you're all okay over on Telegram. Hi, Stephen. Nice to see you. Glad you could make it. So interesting, Atalanta. I might pass that one on as a possible lay the draw second half. Frosinone Mantova, 2-1 at half time. Plenty for Mantova to fight with as well. That relegation 6-pointer again. Trust Werder Bremen today. Making the right noises, but it's Not the most appealing match on paper. Bochum on the half, I thought we had a goal before half time, but no shots just yet after 26 minutes. Leipzig hold the lead, 2 Champions League sides. St. Pauli still not broken through against Dortmund yet. Dortmund have been dropping points. That loss to Bochum was a big surprise. That was between 2 Champions League matches. But then they can suddenly beat Union Berlin 6-0. So St. Pauli better be a little wary, as they've failed to score in the last 3. If they do score first, St. Pauli, they might not follow up with that second. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. I'll just get rid of some of these before the 3 o'clock torrent arrives. Just make sure I've got my odds-ons listed, but the vast majority of them done. We've still got some missing. Another good performance from old Frank and Coventry earlier on. It's only the 3 odds-ons at 3 o'clock there. Peterborough involved in the cup. I think it was against Derby midweek. FA Cup, a couple of odds-ons. And the Bundesliga, of course. Dortmund 1.8, very cautious odds for that. 1.9 cautious as well, isn't it, for Leipzig? Half times, well, 15 minutes away. No real standout, but that has caught my attention, as you can see there. 2.6, the favourite. Are you interested? Goals from open play, fair enough. Old Scally tripping, misses the match. Goals from open play, just looking to see whether one of them or 2 of them were surprise goals. So just looking for Dortmund St. Pauli to possibly come alive. That would be a shock if that were to end 0-0, because they both desperately need points. Again, the live standings will highlight all of these sides, and you can get a view of how much a win will change fortunes. So Mainz are a goal down. If they can get back on parity, that'll take them back to 39. And they've got a fight against. They won't lose their place today, thankfully, if they drop points. If Wolfsburg and Mönchengladbach win, they won't drop their 6th place. So, but they'll have to buck up their ideas, though. So possible attack from Mainz, second half, to being a goal down to Leipzig. I think it's Leipzig. The 0-0s, well, Dortmund, poor season, but they're only, with a win, they'll only be 3 points away from Mainz, who are currently losing, and get that European berth. They could have a quick spurt now, Dortmund. We'll have to see. St. Pauli up outside the relegation zone. Bochum, even with a win today, won't catch them. So they've got a little degree of safety with that draw. Of course, add another 2 to that. It's a tough encounter with Dortmund. That will take them into the 20-plus point barrier. So vital. Well, no, it won't take them up to 24 points. So take the Hoff, who are drawing at the moment, into the equation. Hoff with a win will still keep them below 30 points to start moving away. Shrewsbury, red-carded against Peterborough. Pre-match odds-on favourites, Peterborough. So let's just have a look at that one. We might get ourselves a goal before half-time, depending how Posh react. So let's have a look. Go down to England. Nearly there. So Peterborough. So think it'll be League One. Where are you? Peterborough and the Shrews got that red card. So we'll keep an eye on the reaction from Peterborough there. particularly given their league positions as well. Lots of motivation for both of them to do something. Right, that's better. So we'll just see, firstly, if that red card is confirmed, because it's not popped up yet, and whether Peterborough can break through before half-time. Looking at the odds, does suggest that red card has stuck, and it's stuck at Football 24 as well. So possibilities before half-time for Peterborough. So scour the half-time markets. Can you stretch it a little bit? Well, there's no value, is there? So you might be asking a little bit too much for English League One to excite us in these markets. It's just looking barren. So what a pity. We could have had an assault at the half-time markets there with that red card in play and the need. 20th against 23rd. Got to go for the jugular today. Huddersfield score first against Stevenage. Am I getting my odds on list popping up? So hopefully I can hear. So looks like weren't seeing any late action, were we, for these two? Plenty of motivation. I wouldn't put you off those late lays because of the need for points. Bristol Rovers scoring first against Rotherham, and Huddersfield away at Stevenage. The opening goals there. So we'll just tidy some of this up. So Italian Serie A coming to half-time, I believe. Atalanta and Venezia, surely. It's the top two playing later on, isn't it? Or tomorrow. Could have sworn I saw them playing tomorrow. So surely Atalanta must have that in mind, because highly likely both teams could drop points. That would be the ideal scenario. No. I thought I saw it. It must have already played. May have played yesterday. The opportunity is there for Venezia and for Atalanta to do something today. Both need points for different reasons. No pre-Champions League for Atalanta. We've checked that already. Look at Frosinone Mantova. Second half. Keep an eye on Mantova. You might get a low odds lay of Frosinone in there. The motivation is going to be high. And looking at your near rival in the relegation zone, you've got to take 3 points off them. So if they continue that pressure as the second half begins, Mantova, Frosinone might be layable. So Atalanta Venezia, I'm not sure if this is the second half beginning. Cesena Salernitana, again, arguments for those draws ending. 18th in the league, 8th in the league. 3 points make a big difference to both teams. Atalanta, of course, possibilities to go top. Suspended market, that's one of my matches. Hopefully it's not one of those I'm waiting for goals second half. But we'll see. That was the Bodrum match ending. 0-0. Neither of them fancied it. Nope. That must have been the suspended market. Okay. So the second halves are beginning. Highly suspect we'll get a breakthrough at some point. Atalanta and Venezia. It's got plenty of lower tier goals coming in. Got to make sure they're not from any matches of importance. So I'll just set the scores so we can view them as they're coming up. So these ones coming to an end. Just had Blackpool scoring, Bristol Rovers. These are the kind of matches I just want to check out. So I'll be down. Let's go to the English leagues. So I've got a Blackpool against Stockport. That's 4th against 11th. Pre-match 1.91 at home, Stockport. Are they as reliable at these odds at home as Hearts were midweek? So that's certainly on the roster, isn't it? So it's worth checking these ones out. Bristol Rovers against Rotherham, 1.9 away favourite, has conceded first against 19th in the league. Again, that relegation 6-pointer feel to it. Why were they odds on and away from home? There's that Huddersfield goal. It's a 2.6 the favourite match, so it's a bit of a head scratcher, so says the market. And there we go. That's Peterborough's goal before half time against the Shrews. But as you saw, absolutely no market available, no liquidity at all. So that's a real pity. We were looking at that, but just couldn't make a profit from it. So those are the goals coming in so far. The slight surprises I've saved to keep an eye on. And Sheffield United, after their loss, I think, to Leeds, wasn't it? Got the opening goal. 8 minutes in, Middlesbrough odds on today. A win, I think, midweek. And the Blades have just scored first against QPR. That's not going to be a surprise, but 2.2, only the favourite, second in the league. English FA Cup, well, Wolverhampton Wanderers got distractions, don't they, trying to stay up. Are they going to be up for the cup or not? It's in play stats, basically, or you don't play at all. So those are the goals coming in at the moment. The one of interest will be the 4th place Stockport. Huge motivation for them. Loss against Cambridge last match came away. 3-0 win against Blackpool in August. Blackpool have scored 6 goals in the last 2 matches but conceded 4. So they could be vulnerable. That's going to be of interest, I think. They are scoring and conceding, aren't they, Blackpool, a little bit too much. So just see if we can get that reaction from Stockport. They're 4th for a reason. And they're particularly important at this stage of the season because that's very indicative, isn't it? So deep in. So we'll have a look. We get the match up. Stockport and Blackpool. Just see the lay of the land. Well, 1.11 to lay overs. So suggestion of more goals to come. Stockport +1. Well, it's reasonable at 1.9. It's under evens. Match odds. Well, you're getting decent return in the match odds department, but I might be tempted here just on the fact that they're 4th in the league and odds on at home. So I'll do my insurance and I'll just stick with +1. This is a dangerous one. I don't know these sides very well. I tend to lose money going to League One and League Two. So just be careful with that. It's a decent enough return if we can get that equaliser. They've got huge motivation and the odds as well. I like odds on at home. Hearts midweek was excellent, coming from a goal down, 1.8. to make it, was it 2-1? Finally 3-1 midweek. So I'm certainly interested me there, particularly that scoring and conceding for Blackpool, but I will see how I get on. Atalanta again, that draw is going to be vulnerable at some point. How long can I wait before laying the draw? Similar story, Cesena and Salernitana. Barnsley 1-0 against Lincoln. Burton have scored against Mansfield. But the matches, second half, the 0-0s should be vulnerable. Atalanta against Venezia, possibility to go top with a win. It is a huge motivator. Rangers have conceded yet again first. They did it against Kilmarnock in the last match, and we did make a profit from that midweek, coming from behind for a very nice return. Are they in that mood today? We'll get that match up. Certainly watch that one. I hope you're all okay and everything's working. I hope. All okay? Just let me know everything's okay. Yeah, looks like it is. I'm getting that response there. So hopefully all's okay with you. I'm not just talking to myself. So we've got that Shrewsbury equaliser. That's a bit daunting from Peterborough in English League One. The Shrews have equalised down to 10. Is that draw going to be vulnerable at some point? Must be, surely. And that Rangers match we've got to keep an eye on as well. Scottish Premiership. Just they've had a few fights recently, Rangers. So that could be yet another where they have to fight from behind. So we'll keep an eye on that one. I had to wait midweek because at 2-0 down, they weren't showing anything. But at 2-1, I thought they looked well up for it. And as you can see, they got the W against Kilmarnock. An excellent display from 2-0 down. So we're hoping they're in that kind of a mood today. Don't know much about Motherwell and how they get on week in, week out. It's all a matter of whether you can keep trusting Rangers. Some days they haven't turned up. That loss to Queen's Park, famous loss. That's the importance of insurance, that, isn't it? Quite astounding. 1.04 or 1.05 Rangers were to back in that match. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Pre-match 1.13, so we're expecting, as you can see, the market as well. There's nothing we can do unless we've seen this in the past. You can start looking at the half-time markets if they're a little more liquid than Peterborough's. I'll probably be looking first half 2.5 to factor in a recovery before half time for Rangers. But as you can see, you're not getting much. This is for the first half. That's with about half an hour left. So are you going to expect a goal in the next 15 minutes? Because if you are, then back that and the odds will move. You can do half-time score market. Looking at the likes of course, the 1-1 or you could even skip that and try the 2-1 and any unquoted. But as you can see, 40 quid matched. It's a real pity. But our hands are tied, really. You just have to wait and hope struggles continue. And if they do, you get better odds, of course. Because the half-time markets are a little woeful in these lower leagues. So let's look through our watch list. I hope you're still okay. Shrew's goal was a penalty. Thank you very much, Stephen. So you could still see Peterborough perhaps lead before half-time. I don't know if you fancied that one. They've got to take advantage of the 10 men today. Stalmilik and Corona Kielce, 74th minute, still at 0-0. Very, very quiet, isn't it? This one, I'd have more of an interest in seeing a goal. We're getting to odds on now, which is good for me. The later I can wait, particularly with Atalanta as well. And it looks like they're either nervous because they know they'll go top, or Venezia, of course, are in desperate need for points and are just flooding that defence. But I've been waiting so far. I can check out my positions. Let's have a look. So this should be working nicely. 1.43, and this would be a £20 liability. Getting to odds on at least. It's been a bit of a slog, hasn't it? Working its way down. This was relatively high, 1.43 at half time. That gave me hope that we'd get a concerted 0-0. But as we get the time pressure, the need for points will be greater for both. Promotion, playoff, relegation, get out. So getting to odds on, that's the first point. If I was to leave that as a net, I'd only make a £12 net if we got a single goal, or if it didn't end in a score draw. Atalanta flirting a bit more with disaster there, because they are a pretty solid unit. And they could score at a moment's notice, particularly against a relegation-threatened side as well. But as you can see, this is a real slog as well. That was probably a bit of half-time there, was it? Just going to the side there, I would say. So it's taking a long time. But on the positive, it's only £3.40 liability there. So if I was to lay that draw now, well, it still wouldn't be a decent return. So I'm going to have to sit my hands. And there's that Salernitana goal coming. It's come a little bit too early for me, but it was another one of those matches. I'm targeting the right matches, but I just was waiting for the right moment. And that's going to be the problem with this one as well. The draw's taking an age to go down. So you either lay the draw straight away or you try to get better odds, which is what I was trying to do. But calling it right, the pressure should be enough for us to see a goal. And it's like Salernitana have taken that lead. So they'll be absolutely delighted with that one. Still waiting really for Atalanta to come to life. 2 shots on target. Last one 11 minutes ago. Looks like we've got a reprieve. Salernitana goal disallowed. So I've got a bit of a reprieve there in the 63rd minute. Frosinone Mantova, again, just basing it on the league positions at this stage of the season. Well, you were waiting to see whether Mantova had anything, but they haven't carried that through. Bochum and the Hoff, 16th against 14th. Well, that's the problem there. Normally, don't expect 0-0s in a Hoffenheim match. That's for sure. Bochum, surely that beating of Dortmund will have them confident. But both of those goals were scored first half, as were the last time they scored 2 goals against Holstein Kiel. That was first half. They did score away against the Wolf. So there's possibilities for a second half goal here. If you can trust these two, could be another good one. That laying of over 0.5 goals and then sitting on it, particularly as they haven't really turned up, have they? So just waiting for these two to stay quiet for long enough. 65th minute. So I've survived 20 minutes of the second half. Looks like Salernitana are really going for it, aren't they? But only the 2 shots second half. St. Pauli and Dortmund, you'd be expecting that 0-0 to be vulnerable second half, given the need for points for St. Pauli. Could leave them open to the better side on paper, Dortmund getting a result. Heidenheim, 2.6, the favourite. Are you reading that as the market not expecting one-way traffic? And if so, Heidenheim's odds are very, very backable. Mönchengladbach's very layable. 2.6, the favourite. So you can have a think if you want, if it's tempting enough. Draw odds continue to rise, to drop. Is what I'm after. So let's have a look. Heidenheim. That's the Crew taking an away lead, and Huddersfield as well. Heidenheim and Mönchengladbach. Still, it's tempting, isn't it? It's a throwaway, because these kind of odds could suggest anything, couldn't they? So it's up to you. It's an away side, so that's the positive. If we can get Heidenheim to score, life will be good. Relegation 6-pointer, Luton Town have taken the lead. And you could have just a small go like this. If we can get a Heidenheim goal before the hour mark, we will be up and running. So I'll just pass on a couple to telegrammers. It's a bit of a quiet session, this. You just have to be cautious at this stage of the season, particularly with league positions. Could see some big shocks. We had a few of them last week, didn't we? But we got out of it unscathed. Had a very good midweek. Good afternoon. Live stream on at the moment. Very slim pickings. But here are the ones which potentially caught the eye as the second half's beginning. Cesena against Salernitana in Serie B's 0-0. But the winner could change their season. One of them could go playoff place, the other out of relegation. Atalanta could go top with a win today. That's 0-0 after 67 minutes. Do you want to lay that draw and hope that motivation brings them that much needed win? And in English League One, 4th placed Stockport are a goal down to 11th place Blackpool, based purely on the league positions and the fact that Stockport were 1.9 pre-match favourite. I've gone in, I've had a go, laid over 1.5 goals, and I backed Stockport +1. The last match, Rangers did it midweek against Kilmarnock, 2-0 down. They came back and they won 2-4. They're a goal down to Motherwell now. Are they going to score the next goal and push on? I'm going to wait. The odds aren't very good at all. So those are the eye catchers at the moment. So let's get back. Not missed anything. Okay. So you're all okay. Right, let's go back to the top again. Work our way down as the second half will be beginning soon in Germany. Any nil-nils there? Well, yes, St. Pauli and Dortmund, certainly going to be vulnerable. That one. And Bochum and the Hof. So work our way from the top down. Stalmilk and Kielce. I don't know why this keeps moving. So possibilities here, but there's no real strong momentum. No, that said, I think we've just had a goal from Corona Kielce. So bang goes that. I was looking, keeping an eye on that, but we've missed the goal. Cesena Salernitana still waiting and waiting. 70th minute now. We've got 25 minutes out of the second half. Every second, the draw odds get lower, but we get nearer to a goal the longer we wait. So we're getting nice and low for both of these. Give us a shout at a decent return at some point. So can I get another 4 or 5 minutes out of these two matches at 0-0? Venezia doing a good job frustrating Atalanta. Mantova, thought they started the second half brightly, but they haven't continued, have they? I was looking at that just out of interest to see if they could make that a 2-2, but not happening. 2-0 at half time, with plenty of excuses or reasons for these 0-0s to end, based on the reputations of the teams as well. Bochum and the Hof. We've seen second half goals in Hof matches, haven't we? But we do tend to see first half goals as well, so hopefully they're not suddenly going to be all defensively minded on us. Bochum, 0-0 at half time last match, saw 2 second half goals there. The need as well is great, and look at the 100% over 0.5 goal record for both teams this season. Last 5 home, last 10 home, last 5 away, last 10 away. So that's a positive if we want that draw to end second half. Again, possibilities here if you wanted to take on that Mönchengladbach lead. Half-time team talk as well. Going to remind him that the market expected it to be a tight one. The last 3 head-to-heads have seen, or the last 4 head-to-heads seen both teams scoring as well. St. Pauli and Dortmund, this has certainly been one. I would be looking at laying that late draw. 2 consecutive clean sheets, 3 clean sheets in 4 for Dortmund, 2 of them against Sporting Lisbon. They did lose unexpectedly 2-0 to Bochum, so will St. Pauli look to that? Problem when taking on 0-0s with St. Pauli is they might not score, so you'll have to be reliant on the opponent to do the scoring. You can see that last 2 0-0s at half time for St. Pauli, their opponents scored the goals. It could be another hard luck story because they kept it very tight in their last match. Eventually done by a single second half goal. That seems to be the story today. I would expect a second half goal. So let's have a look at this one. So 1.29. There's a lot of people backing overs, aren't they? It's stacking up on that side there. So now I'm just going to sit on it and hopefully St. Pauli can take it to about the 60th, 65th minute. We can get a little bit better out of this draw. Now let's have a look at the Atalanta draw, now down to 2.16. And the other one was Salernitana. So I'll get that one up. And star that as well. So that draw is looking a lot more appealing, isn't it, now? At 1.59. Look at the kind of return you're going to be getting up to 33. With the liability there, £8.60. So relatively high, wasn't it? But we're getting to a nice stage. As long as this doesn't end in a score draw. If it does, well, it's going to be tough, isn't it? So how long can I wait? And it's 0-2 to Motherwell. Is that the angle in for Rangers FC? Can they do it in their second consecutive match? Something is up at Rangers. So just looking at this Salernitana match, I'm being tempted to get that draw at some point. But I've missed out getting very, very short odds to lay recently. But this one's going to be a bit more dangerous, of course, with Atalanta, with the squad and the quality they've got in the side. So they're finely poised at the moment. So we'll just wait on that. I might just pull the trigger. It's a decent enough return. So now, if it doesn't end in a score draw, I'm okay. Similar with Atalanta, if we can get that late goal, or it could be another one of those for your 1.06, 1.09, getting to odds on already. This now up to £7. So if I was to do it now, that would be a £17. If it didn't end in a score draw, possibility of £70. Now we're getting odds on. We're going to be flirting with disaster as the clock ticks. And these two will be getting ever nearer to the need for a goal. Now, relative to what the draw odds were at the start, 8s, we're doing quite well. Must have been higher than that, surely. Okay. Can I get a bit more out of this one? So we're waiting for the second half to begin. Don't forget, we've got 2 0-0s. Bochum and Hoff, St. Pauli and Dortmund. It's the latter I would expect to be more threatening of a goal to end, but St. Pauli are failing to score. That's the problem. Dortmund are keeping clean sheets, so if Dortmund don't score, we might be in trouble with that 0-0. So I've laid over 0.5 goals and just sitting on it as we're doing with Atalanta. Now, I pulled the trigger with Cesena, Salernitana. Well, we're seeing it lighting up a little bit now, aren't we? 12 shots off target for Atalanta. Starting. Now we've got a suspended market. Hopefully I haven't missed the entry point. Was odds on a good entry point for that draw. 2-0 to Bournemouth in the FA Cup. I think Wolves will be happy to see the back end of that. Focus on the Premier League. Yeah, there's Bournemouth Wolves 2-0. And Peterborough making it 2-1 as you'd expect. No, Rangers have got a goal back to make it 1-2. So I didn't pull the trigger quickly enough. Looks like we're going to be in the same kind of scenario as the Kilmarnock match. Did you get involved at 0-2? Looks like that goal's disallowed. We might. This is what I saw against Kilmarnock. You wanted to see the sign of life. So we might have seen that just there. So that's up to 23. So that'll be about an evens return. Just a bit wary that they can strike at any time, Atalanta. I just hope it's not Venezia who score first, because then the score draw will be on the cards. I think we might give this a go now. Nil 2 to the Wolf. That's early on in the second half. So if Werder Bremen were pre-match favourite, that could still fit in. No, 2.25 away favourite, a leading 0-2. So bang goes that plan. So you can see Atalanta warming it up. And Heidenheim have a goal back against Mönchengladbach. We are up and running. And this was just purely based on the odds an early 2-0 lead is far... Oh, it's been disallowed, is it? That would have been perfect timing. 50th minute. That would have been a lovely lead. Well, let's move to the Rangers match because it's 0-2 and Rangers apparently had a goal disallowed. There's that goal for St. Pauli and Dortmund. It was going to come, but I was hoping for a lot later. So we're calling the right matches, aren't we? St. Pauli and Dortmund. You're going to be expecting Dortmund to get the result with St. Pauli's failure to score. The only thing is, will Dortmund score? And they've just answered you, yes, they will. Heidenheim, that goal disallowed, we could have done with that. That would have been very nice indeed. Are we getting any decent odds about Rangers now? Yes, we are. This is reminiscent of the Kilmarnock match midweek, and it's the same kind of odds. What did I do there? Did I do both teams to score? No. When it's big enough, I would consider that because they've shown with that disallowed goal that they've got goals in them. So I'm hoping. That's £4.80. That's all right. So I can cover the 0-2. I'm hoping the rest of that gets matched. Come on. There we go. And then correct score market. Cover the 1-2 to win the amount I want to play with. And then I can go into the match odds and leave it and hope this is the same as the Kilmarnock match midweek, where we got a very decent return because they pulled off the win. I'm just hoping that disallowed goal was a sign of something from Rangers. So I'll just pass that on. Rangers are 0-2 down to Motherwell. They did it midweek against Kilmarnock. They were 2-0 down and won 4-2. They've just seems had a goal disallowed. So if you fancy this one, back Rangers half stake and lay Motherwell half stake as liability in the match odds market. Hopefully they're in a mood today, Rangers. Heidenheim warming up nicely. 90, 99. Can they produce that goal? We could have done with that 50th minute goal sticking, couldn't we? That would have been excellent. Hope you're all okay over on YouTube. Penalty Salernitana, says Alan. Well, knowing my luck, Alan, it's not going to be converted. So we will see. Can we get that draw ending in the Salernitana match? Thanks for that, Alan. Let's have a look. Has there been a penalty? Has it been missed? Oh, it's been missed. Alan. It's been missed. And we've got a Cesena goal. We've got the Cesena goal now. So as long as this doesn't end in a score draw, we will survive. That missed penalty could seriously cost this lot the Serie B place. That's how serious that miss is. Can you imagine the shift from plus 3 points to minus 3 points? You could see that here. So we got there in the end, Alan. It's a neutral play, isn't it? Laying the draw. They've been punished. Look at what this has done to Salernitana. Add 3 to that, and they were up 29 just a second ago. Bringing Mantova, Sampdoria, Südtirol, Reggiana, Brescia into the relegation dogfight. Now they're slumbered back down, and even with a win today, they won't go out. A win next, they won't go out of the relegation. That's the importance of that missed penalty. Cesena absolutely delighted because they've got Stabia, Bari, Palermo, Modena, Carrarese, Cittadella queuing up to nick their promotion playoff place. So talk about a missed penalty costing big. That could cost the season. Whew, I wouldn't like to be him in that dressing room afterwards. So we've got that goal. Atalanta and Venezia. Well, I did lay the draw again too squeamishly, a little bit too early. The great thing about that strategy, if your kahunas are bigger, you're going to make more money. You can stay in longer. The longer you can wait. This one, for example, 84 minutes. This one could be anything now. But we've got the 0-0 covered. It's a great time because you're not expecting a 1-1 draw. At least you're not hoping. Even though they'll be ruining their luck, I think. Salernitana. Missed penalty. At this stage of the season, they should have just signed Matt Tissier for that match. Bochum and the half, 55 minutes in. You know what you're going to get with the half. You either trust them or you don't. They're either going to score a shed load second half or they're not. They're the Man United of the Bundesliga. So you'd be expecting at this stage of the season both sides would be vying for points. And there's been huge over 2.5 goal, both teams to score patterns in head-to-heads recently. 100% over 0.5 goals in all, last 5 and last 10 for both of these two sides as well. You're going to lay it now, you're going to wait. Werder Bremen and the Wolf. I thought Werder Bremen would be more competitive today, as their stats suggest. 5 shots on, 6 off, 2 corners. Are they going to get that goal? We could have done with that Heidenheim goal sticking, couldn't we? At 1-2. That would have been excellent. 50th minute. It's 0-2 to Borussia Dortmund. Should have really got that draw straight away, shouldn't we? They're either going to hold out or it's going to be hold out and then a plucky collapse later on. But they're showing their class now, Dortmund. And Pauli showing their limitations. Leipzig and Mainz. Well, Leipzig don't tend to fall foul at home. That would be the only positive. They're a bit unreadable now and again. Middlesbrough and Derby, 44 minutes in. Derby done a really good job in 23rd, keeping a lid on Borough, but for how long? 3 shots on, 5 off, 2 corners. Again, can we wait and hope we get that late win? Carrarese and Cremonese, 2-2 in the 88th minute in Italian Serie A B. I think Middlesbrough and Derby, there might be some legs in that, surely. You can see no draws recently in all competitions for Middlesbrough. 11th place as well. With the likes of Coventry winning earlier on, they're going to find trouble as they're getting nearer to the promotion spots. It's going to get a little bit congested. Let's have a look at the live standings. Surely this 0-0 is vulnerable for both teams. So Middlesbrough, you add 2 points to that. They break the majestic 50-point barrier. That's going to be vitally important for that assault on the promotion playoff places. Realistically, only 5th and 6th is available. Such a buffer for the top 4. So that's key. Must break that 50-point barrier. Will do so with 2 points extra today. So huge motivation for Middlesbrough. Derby, a win. Add 2 points to that, takes them to 33. They'll be equal on points with Hull, but the goal difference will be negative. So huge motivation. What a pity we didn't get that Heidenheim goal stuck at 1-2. That would have been a really nice odds move there, but it's 0-3 now to Mönchengladbach. That's the 2.6, the favourite match in a nutshell for you. It could be anything. That's why I tell you to be very careful what you expect this one to be, for example. 2.6, the favourite. So Middlesbrough and Derby, plenty to motivate both teams. That 0-0, surely vulnerable again. So let's have a look. Are Derby going to hold out for another late play? So I'm going to lay over 0.5 goals. Hopefully we get as nervy a match as we've got in the Atalanta match and in the Cesena match. The Atalanta one still 0-0. That's why I love doing this insurance element. But I should stay in later because you get a very, very decent return. The longer can you imagine if you can wait, lay that draw at 1.25, you're up to 80 quid return. So it's a nice technique if we can pull off one or two of those and see the goal, then we will get rewarded. Let's take a stroll through the odds-ons. Gorica Rijeka 1.83 for the away favourite. Sparta Prague 1-1 at half time, 1.95. Middlesbrough expectant today, as was the market. Vital match for both of these two teams. You'd be expecting that draw to be vulnerable at some point there. Stockport, well, I've only based the play on the fact they're fourth in the league. Surely that's near enough to the promotion playoff places automatic. 57 with a win today takes them into that 60-point barrier, one of only 4 teams. So that could be crucial for them. Who are they playing? Blackpool. So Blackpool got anything to hope for? Well, they are up to 47 points with a win, and that will see them within 7 points of promotion playoff places. So that could be crucial. They put together a good unbeaten run of late, but they are scoring and score drawing as well. So there might be some hope left for Stockport County, who will be, with a win, hugely motivated to break into the 60-point barrier. It's a risky one. It's English League One. We've got all sorts of strange results in this competition. But I do like these odds pre-match. I prefer them if they're 1.8 or lower. Just gives you an element of confidence. So we will see. It's a risky one. But looking at Middlesbrough, if they can continue that end of first half pressure, should see that draw very vulnerable second half. Rangers looking good. They did all of their work last week, I think, in the second half, didn't they, against Kilmarnock? So can they keep doing this week in, week out? That's the question. Or indeed, within a matter of a few days of each other. Well, Atalanta not broken through Venezia. Can Venezia take advantage? Well, we will clean up if we get a late goal, but we will break even if it remains 0-0. If Cesena hold on, I will be making my first profit on that lay the draw. Salernitana will be bitterly disappointed missing a penalty there. Hopefully that's the end of the match. Hopefully that's an Atalanta winner. But we will see. It's 2-0 to Cesena, so that guarantees that draw survives. Put Salernitana to bed. that missed penalty taker is not going to be sleeping very well this evening. Atalanta Venezia looks like it's coming to a close. Very good performance from Venezia. Desperate need for points. They'll rather take one than lose three. And of course, taking three changes the whole complexion of their season, nearly. Mantova just haven't done enough, have they? 17 shots off and 9 corners, just couldn't break through in the end. So these are two good plays with that new lay the draw strategy. Getting in. Oh, imagine if I was laying the draw now. That's the kind of return you could get if you can stay in for that long. Wow. Bochum and Hoffenheim again. Not seeing any strength from either side. 2 shots on target for Bochum, but need for points as well. But trusting these two, oh, it's difficult. There we go. That's the Cesena 2-0 confirmed. Heidenheim, well, disappointing. That 1-2 didn't stick, did it? In the 50th minute. Perfect timing. Should have laid the draw there with more confidence and earlier. This is the kind of thing you'd be expecting. Atalanta and Venezia ends 0-0. But I break even. Another potential slip up from Leipzig. This is what they've been doing all season. I don't know if I can trust them to get back into this. That's the problem. Middlesbrough really should do something today against Derby County. We can have a check. This Middlesbrough Derby County match. Any goal patterns? So let's have a look. 0-4 to Mönchengladbach. So any goal patterns? Well, let's go right to the very end. Not really. At home, it's mostly first half. Derby away, though, noticeable. Conceding 16 goals in the last half hour of away matches. Can we last to the hour mark here in this particular match? 6-0 at half-time away, only 1 at full-time. Don't tend to hold on to their 0-0s, do they? Middlesbrough and Derby. So, interesting. Can we wait for the 60th minute and then start to look to lay that draw? Atalanta ends 0-0, break even. Got the Cesena 1 in, so that was 1 out of 2. But a break even and a profit, so delighted with that. Still not seeing anything from Bochum or the half to suggest laying that draw. Just not got anything to them, those two. We've got Rayo Vallecano and Sevilla. Rayo Vallecano have been in excellent form of late. So they could put in a good performance today against Sevilla. 2 recent losses, but against pretty decent yardsticks, I think. Those 3 wins prior have been in really good form. So just waiting for the second half to begin. Middlesbrough, I think that draw will be vulnerable, but it would be nice to get that 0-0 covered. Rangers were just waiting. 3 minutes to go to half-time. Can they do what they did against Kilmarnock? That was a 2-1 from 2-0 down. They did at least get a goal before half-time there. But they did get 3 second-half goals. Came alight. I was hoping that disallowed goal at 0-2 would suggest Rangers were up for this. So I'm hoping I can score the next goal and score it early enough for us to start the ball rolling against Motherwell. Peterborough doing exactly what you'd expect, really. We were looking at that, weren't we? First half goals 2.5, but there was nothing there at all. Bristol Rovers and Rotherham were looking at the league position. We'd be expecting 19th v 15th to be targeting that draw to end. Stockport were just looking again at the league position. I was hoping they'd be a little more competitive and start fighting back. Again, they could break into an important points range with a win today. Stockport 50, or is it 60 point range could give them a tilt at the promotion. Automatic. Not going to be playing the FA Cup today, and as I say, that tells you everything. 2.6 the favourite. Rayo Vallecano been in good nick recently. So let's have a look down. Bundesliga beginning. Keep an eye on the odds-ons. Rapid Vienna, very strong. So it's a bit of a quiet session today. Got to be very cautious of these league positions. Club Brugge leading Ghent, as you'd expect. Just pick up some more before the 3 o'clocks begin again. Sparta Prague, odds on pre-match. 5 consecutive wins, no draws really between these two. Is that draw vulnerable? Luton and Pompey. Will Portsmouth fight back? Relegation 6-pointer. QPR and the Blades. Well, QPR putting in a really good shift. Sheffield United vulnerable when they need points the most. Stoke 20th in the league, 0-0 against Watford again. A side avoiding draws lately, aren't they? Stoke, at least in the Championship. Probably because they're conceding far too many goals as well. But the need for points suggests they could be on the watch list. 20th in the league. English League One. Let's have a look. Exeter Northampton 18th against 17th. Again, a relegation 6-pointer here. Favourite, a goal down. 23rd against 21st. Lots of relegation 6-pointers in English League One today. Wigan against there's a Hoff goal. If you did lay the draw second half, up to you. You know what they're like, don't you? But they do tend to avoid 0-0s at least. The mighty Hoff. That's the second half goal, if you were interested in that. Wigan and Reading, a little near the promotion area. That 0-0 could be vulnerable. MK Dons 17th in the league. And relegation 6-pointer Gillingham and Morecambe. These are ripe for some late action. So we'll keep an eye on those once the second half begins. That's all the National League. So those 0-0s in the Bundesliga ending second half, if you did lay them, well done. My only real play to look at is Stockport, as the second half will be beginning soon. So that is certainly, I think, 0-1 to Hoffenheim. There it is, so I can get rid of that. Werder Bremen making the right noises, but running out of time. 6 shots on, 6 shots off, 4 corners. Well, they're doing everything, but looks like they did most of it first half, so that's probably why it remains 0-2. I wouldn't be that keen to lay the Wolf unless there was some second half impetus there. Leipzig, bit hit and miss for me. Not sure if I could trust them to get an equaliser. They were pre-match odds on, 1.9, same odds as Stockport. Luton against Pompey, evens favourite at home. This, surely, there'll be enough pressure for both of these two sides to look for 3 points. could change their seasons, particularly if results go other sides ways, particularly with Middlesbrough, could open the door up to a tilt at the promotion playoff places. QPR, well, do deserve a goal, don't they? 4 shots on, 7 off and 6 corners against Sheffield United. Not sure I would take on second in the league, leading, with a reputation for keeping it quiet, apart from Leeds. So don't tend to concede that second goal outside of Leeds United. So I wouldn't be too keen to take that on. But those of you who like some speculation might want to look at seeing that second half. And similar story, Middlesbrough and Derby looking for that goal second half as well there. Rangers, it looks like they could be doing a Kilmarnock. They scored 3 of their 4 goals midweek in the second half. Midweek against Killy, so hopefully they can do the same. This one, 3 shots on, 8 off, 7 corners. A nice, quick response would help. So those are the matches of interest. I think Middlesbrough should be looking at 3 points today, shouldn't they, really? Got to take advantage. Derby, of course, a vital win, change their season. So we've got some suspended markets. See if there's any of our matches of interest or any odds on favourite matches. Well, we've got an equaliser for Stockport County. It was a risk, but it looks like it's a risk that has paid off. 4th in the league, Stockport equalising. Now I'm, of course, kicking myself because I didn't go match odds. So that is a real pity there. Just thought they'd have the greater motivation of breaking into that important points barrier. As you can see the difference here now. A 47th minute 1-1 really benefits the +1, the match odds market. +1, it's going to be okay, but we're a long way away from the full profit. But it's still a decent return, decent enough return. If you add that to the draw from earlier on, Cesena, we're starting to build up some green. What is a strange old day. So just a day to tread a little carefully with. So we've got the Stockport 1-1. Can they pull on 4th in the league? Let's look at the difference that has made now to Stockport. 4th place on 58. Add another 2 to that, and you're on 60 points. So you can see the carrot can really make you play matches you wouldn't normally target. I wouldn't normally look at Stockport in English League One at home. But motivation. So we're waiting to see a bit of that from Middlesbrough. Equally from Derby, a win helps both of those 2 sides up massively. Nothing much doing in the Bundesliga. Just waiting to see any reaction from Pompey, because they'd be eyeing the 3 consecutive wins in all competitions. They'd be looking at a reaction here. In the Championship, no less. 2 of those wins at home. Real momentum. Notably, Luton failing to score in 3 of the last 4. Might be vulnerable here for the speculator. But not even favourites today, Portsmouth. But I would have had them on that recent form. Possibly competitive here today. Middlesbrough making the right noises. Can we see a quick goal? Well, I don't want to see a quick goal because I'm still delaying my entry into laying that draw. But it looks like they're making the right noises at the beginning of the second half. Borough, don't forget, 3 points are going to be absolutely vital for their promotion playoff push and for their push to get out of the relegation zone. Second half beginning, QPR, Sheffield United. Looks good first half stats for QPR. Gillingham against Morecambe, 19th against 23rd in the league. Leyton Orient scoring against Charlton. Didn't really have that one looking at. Rangers second half will be beginning soon. Let's hope for a quick response to make it 1-2 and then for them to push on. Wigan against Reading, 14th against 9th. 3 shots on, 6 off and 5 corners for Reading. Just waiting for Stockport. Do I get out now, still make a green, or do I hope that they can push on? Rayo Vallecano and Sevilla is 0-0 at half-time. No draw in 5 for Rayo Vallecano. So you saw with Bochum and Heidenheim, they had that 100% over 0.5 goal record. That might be something to look at in those matches. So just see if I've missed any. We're waiting to see whether we pull the trigger in that Stockport match. Cercle Brugge against Antwerp, 0-0. Eye-catching in-play stats for Cercle Brugge. Is that draw vulnerable? That's Rapid Vienna 1-0. And Nice have scored first against Saint-Etienne. No surprise at all. Saint-Etienne really struggling this season. So nothing to pass on just yet. Just seeing if there's anything else. Leyton Orient and Charlton. Doesn't look a surprise. Exeter. Well, Exeter have been competitive, but they don't have a good record. And Peterborough were expecting that win with that red card in play. Okay, so let's go keep an eye on our watch list. 10 minutes to go. Werder Bremen and the Wolf. Lots of very little from Werder Bremen, so I don't think there'll be any angle in there. Not seeing any reaction from Leipzig either at 1-2. So there's nothing to tell me to take on this Mainz lead at any stage. Hope you're all okay over on YouTube. Cezena just scored, indeed, to make it 2-0. But the only way I would lose, Alan, would be if it ended a score draw. So once a goal is scored, laying over 0.5 goals is finished, hasn't it? So 0-2 to Sheffield United. The Hoff, yeah, I hope you played, Bosun. Cheltenham and Grimsby 1-1. So just in the early part of the second half, making all the right noises, Borough, aren't they? Can you trust them today? It's a vital match for both teams. We're going to see lay the draw. QPR, Sheffield United. Again, first half, excellent news. But surely Sheffield United are going to be too tough to score 2 goals against at least. MK Dons 17th in the league. No shots on or off target. The one score draw recently. Too many score draws for Colchester. Gillingham against Morecambe. 1 shot on, 7 off and 3 corners for the Gills. Relegation 6-pointer, this one. Certainly. So we'll keep an eye on that. Despite the D's recently, a couple of 0-0, so that's a bit worrisome for Gillingham. I don't like seeing too many of those 0-0s. But surely the motivation is to try and turn those D's into W's. Stoke and Watford again. Stoke's position in the league, 20th. That's why I've got that one looking out for. 47th minute in. If you're with them, you're with them. If you're not, you're not. Failed to do it against St Mirren. Scored 3 goals second half against Kilmarnock. Can they do it against Motherwell? Got a 2-2 last time these two met as well. Can they follow on through 2 consecutive matches, 2 goals down? Rangers, can they pull it off? Hope so. Just don't know which one would turn up though, the St Mirren one or the Kilmarnock one. Crawley and Cambridge, 0-1 again. Look at the league positions. Might see vulnerability there. Stockport, well, still the dangerous attacks are with Blackpool. It is dangerous not cashing out in a league like this. Am I going to rue not trying to get a little bit more out of the market here? Trusting 4th in the league. Looks like they own the second half so far. Bournemouth and Wolves, I don't have an opinion. I don't think I'm going to play at all. The Circle of Brugge making all of the right noises in the Jupiler League, but well, they're all score draws, so you'd be taking on a 0-0. And again, look at the 100% record of 0.5 goals coming in for both of these two sides, Circle of Brugge and Antwerp. And there we go. Circle of Brugge 1, Antwerp 0. It was looking like it was going the way of the in-play stats there. So you can check that out quickly if you fancy that. They're not drawing 0-0. So it's probably be up for a score draw now, Circle of Brugge, would you think? Are they going to be worrying too much? Far too many score draws. Sparta Prague used to winning 1.95 at 1-1. Rayo Vallecano been putting together a recent run. A couple of 1-0 defeats against good yardsticks, Barcelona and Villarreal have had an excellent season as well. So they're a very, very tough team to get past Rayo Vallecano at the moment. Sevilla, Real Valladolid, one of the strugglers this season. Rayo Vallecano beat them 1-0, but Sevilla beat them 4-0. But that's about the best of Sevilla recently. So no wonder this is 0-0. It's going to be a tough one to trust, taking that 0-0 on second half. And Grazia and Austria Vienna have just got that first goal for Austria Vienna after 15 minutes. Odds on favourite away from home at 1.2. So, sorry, at second in the league. So that's what interested me there. So let's just have another look through. So we've got a lot of 0-0s to look at. We've only really Stockport and Rangers have interested so far. I'm not going to be playing the cups. Are there any strange results in League One and League Two? Let's have a look. Well, we've got to, we could target the 0-0s at this stage of the season. Wimbledon and Bromley. Top 4, Wimbledon. Surely they'll be looking at the possibility of a promotion playoff place. First in the league, Walsall. No shots on target against Swindon. Keep an eye on that. So don't forget the Champions League is on next week. So any of those sides taking part. I know there's a few in the FA Cup. They might be more vulnerable this week than usual. So just be careful of all of those. It's a very different Saturday session today. Wigan have got that goal, top of the league. I just pointed that here. We're just going to look at that developing in the second half. Now, Wigan 14th in the league, so I'm getting mixed up with the other W who are top of the league, Walsall. That's it. So work our way down as the matches come to an end. Now I can't see a Leipzig recovery here. Just waiting to see whether Portsmouth come alive. Might just get something out of this. Just that those 3 consecutive wins for Portsmouth are staring back at me, aren't they? Staring back at me, those possibilities there. Well, I've got my 0-0 covered Middlesbrough. So let's have a look. Werder Bremen have a goal back, fair enough. It wouldn't have impacted the market had we got on. And a goal back for Rangers, good stuff. And it's come at a good time, 54th minute. So Middlesbrough, what's this looking at? Well, it's up to £3.60. The liabilities of £5 are there. So if I start laying the draw now, well, you'd only be making a tenner there. Can I get a little bit more out of this? Let's check out the Rangers match. We need to look at the Rangers match. Is this the sign of a comeback? Like they did against Kilmarnock. Now, it's a very lukewarm entry, but hopefully if we can make it to 2-2, if you wanted to, you could lay over 3.5 goals now. If you expect Rangers to push on, or if you think they might get stuck, it would cost you £7.60, and that would cover the current scoreline of 1-2. And you already have this existing, or you'd have the £3.80 if it gets to a 2-2. So up to you. But is this a sign of a potential Rangers fight back? I hope so. Hope we can get to the 2-2 at least. I've got the 1-2 covered as well. Hope I haven't lost everything. Right. Have you lost your scanner? Because I can't continue if I've lost a scanner. Here it comes. Oh. Thought I saw it a second ago. Have you lost your scanners? I don't know what went wrong there. So are your scanners working? So I'll have to call it a day. I can't get on. Oh, here we go. Right, hopefully that's back. So really, the clock's ticking for Borough. Still not crossed the line. Rangers 1-2. Could do with another goal. 65th, 70th minute. Get that 2-2. Push on. Score 3 goals for the second time in the second half. So suspended market. Who's that? Thanks, Paul. Scanner's working. Looks like it was just a blip for me. Watch out for Cercle Brugge. 113 attacking pressure index if you wanted to lay the draw there. Cercle Brugge and Antwerp, look at that, 113. No response yet from Pompey. Nothing yet from Middlesbrough. I've still got that 0-0 covered. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Wolves make it 1-1. I'm not going to be playing the cup today. So Middlesbrough really not doing much of anything, are they? 0-2 for Sheffield United. It'll be a tough nut to crack, despite the good first half showing from QPR. MK Dons and Colchester. Good second half from Colchester, 13th in the league. But no shots on target yet. 3 consecutive draws. All score draws, I think. No, 1-0 coming away. Gillingham and Morecambe again, relegation 6-pointer, but it's all very nervy, isn't it, at the moment? Good for that 0-0 strategy at half time, although still trying to suss out how that picks its selections, backing 0-0 at half time using Fibonacci. I would be going by match, looking at a lot of these relegation 6-pointers and hoping they are tight. So again, relegation places, all 0-0s. Walsall a goal down, but do they need to win? 1.83s are normally, I say normally, reliable. The last one I played was Hearts. Well, no, 1.8 at home. They do tend not to get you in trouble, by which I mean if they're going to lose, it's going to be 0-1. And you'll have had taken insurance out on it. So that lingers with me at the moment. Top of the league, Walsall. They were top of a lot of the form tables as well, of course, weren't they? So that might be of interest. Shall I take a chance? Probably going to be, the odds are going to be too high. We're hoping for a 2-2 here from Rangers. So laying over 1.5 goals, very high. Then Walsall +1 is going to be very high, 2.88. Well, I don't know if you fancy them at 13s. Top of the league. One of the better home records as well. Colchester are still making the right noises, aren't they? But they're doing everything with the off-target shots and corners only. Not really doing it with much else, are they? Again, Middlesbrough adding another shot on and shot off to their repertoire. 69th minute. All this while, again, I'm getting what I hope will be a little bit of value out of laying that draw. So we'd have got this up to about £5 so far. So I can get odds on at the moment. As long as we avoid a score draw. So that'd be £19.60. -5, so that'd be about £15. When do I do it though? They see, when do I do it? Because there is a desperate need for points, but there's also a desperate need for Derby not to concede. So we've got them working for us. And you can see this, the draw has always been relatively high at 4.5. It's taking a while, hasn't it, to degrade? Because they're factoring in odds on home favourite. Touching 70 now, so I'm flirting with the possibility of a Borough goal coming at some point. Don't forget, was it 60th minute plus when Derby starts conceding heavily away from home. Remember that stat from earlier on. We're in that period now, 60th plus minute. So that might tempt me in to look at laying this draw. Got far better odds than had I waited at half time. I think I might get involved now because we're in that period where Derby, if they are to concede a lot. There we go. So as long as I avoid a score draw, I'll be okay. You can see them lighting it up now. 6 shots on, 8 off, 3 corners, 70 attacking pressure index. Colchester are still catching the eye, aren't they? But no shots on target. And all of the other 0-0s not really lighting up the momentum just yet. Rangers just stuck in the mud a little to give the market hope of another win from 2 goals down, because we made a nice profit midweek out of that one. Not going to be playing doubly red carded matches. Bristol Rovers and Rotherham, nothing involving there. Stockport, well, we're still okay with Stockport. I haven't cashed out yet. Wigan 14th against Reading 1-1. QPR have a goal back against Sheffield United. Well, they were showing it, weren't they? As were Cercle Brugge, but they didn't turn that attacking pressure into a goal, did they? Cercle Brugge just yet. Got a suspended market. Is that a Middlesbrough goal? Let's have a look. It's a Charlton equaliser against Leyton Orient. Don't think I have an interest in that one. No. None of my matches of interest. There's a goal for Rayo Vallecano against Sevilla. That's a tricky one to call. So I don't think I'll be interested in that one. 2.6 the favourite match. Bristol Rovers is 2-2 with Rotherham. Cercle Brugge red card. Despite their utter dominance, you'd have been a bit peed off had you got involved at that 100 plus. Seen that red card now. I don't have an opinion with Rayo Vallecano match, so I'll take that one off. So just a whole raft of 0-0s, which should have some pressure to them second half. We're just hoping again for something from Rangers in what has been a quietish session, but as long as we can get out there with a bit of green. Well, interesting in France, Saint-Etienne 1-1 against Nice. Big outsiders today, Saint-Etienne, fighting for survival as well. 75th minute now, Middlesbrough Derby. I did lay at 1.9, which is a pity. Again, I'm just not getting my timings right as far as getting even better value out of the markets. Nothing else catching the eye. Gillingham and Morecambe again. You'd have thought they'd be arguing for 3 points, these two, but just no response at all. Rangers, had all of that motivation. 54th minute, it's just gone off the boil, hasn't it? You really needed a 2-2 quickly. Give us a slant at that win. Wimbledon against Bromley, 1.7 home favourite. 4th in the league as well. A couple of 0-0s recently is a concern. But a win today, well, just watching that bit of Mystic Meg, Bromley have got the goal. So that's interesting. Bromley scoring first, but can't really do any insurance here. But keep an eye on that one. 3 shots on target, 11 corners, 4th in the league as well. We can have a look at the Bromley match. Let's have a look. .7, 4th in the league, Wimbledon. Let's see how important salvaging of any points will be for Wimbledon. So just go to the live standings. Fourth in the league, Wimbledon, 57 points. With a win, they go to 60. Wow. One of only 4 sides on 60 points. But Bromley, they hold on to this win there. Another win away from breaking the 50-point barrier and having a chance at the promotion spots. But you'd have thought Wimbledon would be highly motivated today. One of only 4 sides with a win to go to 60+ points. They would still stay 4th, but they'd be on the cusp of the automatic promotion places. Psychologically important, that 60-point barrier, isn't it? So we'll just see if we got some action from that late on. Now, Portsmouth really didn't show any of the battling qualities I thought they would show, given their league position and the league position of their opponent, and being on 3 consecutive wins. So I'm not going to be too keen to lay Luton just yet. Middlesbrough Derby, this is why I like having that 0-0 covered. The problem is I got involved too late again. Imagine laying at 1.5, you're doubling your money if you get a win out of the match. MK Dons in Colchester, with Colchester making all of the right sounds, but they're all coming with the secondary stats and have not done much of anything. Gillingham and Morecambe, this could be a vital 3 points, and it's gone to the team who deserved it. As you can see there, 4 shots on 8 off 7 corners, laying that draw again as late as possible, unless you fancy just staying with the Gills looking at those stats. So I wish I'd stayed with those. Stoke and Watford, 20th in the league, no shots on target. Walsall and Swindon, and we've got that goal. Eventually, it's come for Middlesbrough. So even accounting for that loss of a fiver there, if I got out now, I'd still be making a £10 green. It's all relative to the amount staked, of course. If I double that to the 40 quid, then things are starting to motor, aren't they? So I can still make a green screen net profit if I get out now. The problem is a late score draw scuppers everything, doesn't it? So it was coming. Vital for them today. They had to get that today. Up to 50 points now. One of only 8 sides on 50+ points, and within another win of the promotion playoff places. That's how crucial taking these draws on can be. Equally as crucial for Derby, who with a win, of course, go to 32 points and take Hull into the equation. Wow. That's why you want to take on these 0-0s. The pressure at this stage of the season. So we've got that goal. The pressure has told at last. And they'll be delighted to have picked up those 3 points. Well, the Gillingham goal was looking for a late place. Sassuolo against Pisa. The battle of the top two. Sassuolo have scored first. No surprise to see Sassuolo scoring at home. As you know, got an exceptional second half scoring record. So these 0-0s I've looked for, not really seeing any late action that appeals just yet. Colchester's action is all secondary, and Stoke haven't had a shot on target. Rangers are splintering a little bit, spluttering, but I've got that 1-2 covered. What I don't want to end up is with a very, very late 2-2, because then I'll have lost my both teams to score no, my 1-2 insurance, and everything else, and I'll take a loss on the draw as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. Rangers and Motherwell. Wimbledon and Bromley. Well, fourth in the league. We were looking at them, weren't we? But not seeing much of a response from Wimbledon. Again, 3 points, even a point when you're fourth, could be the difference at the end of the season between automatic promotion, having to go through the playoffs. Wigan and Reading, I don't really have a strong opinion there. Bristol Rovers and Rotherham, well, another win, another goal for either of these two, and it could be a good season. Both teams have scored first half and second half. It's absolutely equal, isn't it? Shots on, shots off, and corners. No side has really led for too long. Plenty of opportunity and need for a win. Stockport make it 2-1. I can now get out of there with a guaranteed return. I wouldn't normally play that one, but it was just that league position, fourth in the league, along with the fact that they were odds on pre-match at home as well. So that's a very welcome return for quite what was a little bit of a risk with Stockport, but a nice 2-1. They're going to be scooting up that table now. Absolutely delighted. That's what it's all about, the motivation. That's what's changing the choice of matches today, the motivation factor. So I'm going to call it a day soon, as soon as these 4:45s finish. So if we can get something out of Rangers, you can't ask them to keep doing this, scoring 3 second half goals to get the win. It's a bit ridiculous, really. Bristol Rovers and Rotherham, potential 106, 109 if you fancied that one. Cercle Brugge, well, that red card should have scuppered the chance that they had to make their pressure count. So just get rid of a few of these. Cercle Brugge, no, not for me. Club Brugge, not doing okay. So that's about it at the moment. I think we've got just really Rangers to think about now, haven't we? Rangers and Motherwell. The correct score is doing the job at the moment. The 1-2 is covered, but it's a 2-2 where I'll make the net loss. So I could have done with that 2-2 coming a lot earlier. Oh, is this the start? Is it 2-2? Yes. Is it 2-2? Perfect timing. Now I'm in a net loss position because I've lost all of my insurance premiums, haven't I? 79th minute, so it's one of those will they, won't they scorelines, timings, isn't it now? 11 minutes plus extra time to get the winner, having already scored 2 goals second half for the second consecutive match. Or you could take that and you'll have a net break-even-ish on all of the insurances that you've taken out. But we're sitting on the possibility of Rangers pulling off another big win, 2 in a row. So how are you going to play that one? So I hope you're all okay. I'll be saying goodbye to you soon. MK Dons, Colchester, a shot on target. Has that woken any of you up? And that's produced a goal. I think Colchester have scored a goal with that solitary shot on target. So just waiting for Rangers to make it 3-2 if they can. That would be a brilliant result. Bristol Rovers and Rotherham, 106-109. 106-109 play, I would think, for that one, if you're interested. I think that's about it really at the moment. We've got what we can out of the market. A few more interesting matches today. Can we get that 3-2 from Rangers? Oh, don't say it's been disallowed. That'd be perfect timing, that 2-2. I think the goal has been disallowed. So Man City, 5:45, the standout in the FA Cup. Lens should have an easy time of it against Le Havre, and PSG just very hard to beat, particularly with that Barcola. Lorient, ex of the French League 1, at 7 o'clock. And Frankfurt and Leverkusen, possibility of a goal before half-time, as ever with them. Napoli and Inter, I think this is a top 2 clash that Atalanta did not take advantage of. Napoli and Inter, they didn't take advantage of it earlier on to go top. PSV a bit later. All of the big guns, Twente and Feyenoord. And that looks to be about that. So I'm going to say good night to you now. I'm just going to hope that Rangers can pull off the late win. Going to be another hard luck story with that VAR. So thanks very much everyone for coming along. I hope to see you again very soon. I might see you a bit on Telegram over the next hour or so. Have a great day.